We went to the state fair, and Pooter is a daredevil. Pooter liked to ride all sorts of rides. Everything that's high and swings and whatever, Pooter is going to ride it. But there was one ride that Pooter got on. It went all the way up to the top, and then it dropped down. And she said, well, Daddy, I'm going to ride it. I said, go on, girl, ride the ride. Now, Daddy's standing there with his heart beating like this. Why? Because that's my baby. Do I have somebody in the house? I don't want anything to happen to her. But then when the ride dropped down and she got off the ride, she had a kind of a dazed look in her eyes. And I said, well, baby, what's wrong? She said, nothing. I said, you want to ride it again? She said, no, one was enough. Do I have somebody in here? And she started to stagger a little bit. Why? Because it was not what she thought it was going to be. When you realize that your battles are not your own, you ain't got to worry about what the battle is, because you ain't finna ride that ride of the battle. But you gonna turn it over to God and say, I'm turning in my ticket for the ride, and I'm gonna pick up a car. I'm picking up a garment of praise. Do I have somebody in the house? The Bible says that he arose and rebuked the wind and the sea. Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. The first thing I want to tell you is rise to belief. Yes. Rise to belief. How many of you coffee drinkers? Now, I don't put cream in my coffee as a normal thing, but there are times that I will put some French vanilla cream, not that often, but maybe once in a while. But anybody that uses cream, you can get with me, the cream, Robin, does what? Rises to the top. Do I have somebody in here? Why? Because the agent that's in the cream does not stay down. It rises to the top. And the only way that your coffee will turn truly light is if you stir it. Do I have somebody in here? You got to mix it up. Help me, somebody. My kids have all grown up mixing things. And they always, when they look like Chubb, they always would come saying, Daddy, I brought you some coffee. And I said, okay, and I would take it and drink it, but they got so smart, they would say, well, Daddy doesn't want any cream. Do I have somebody in here? Now, I believe it was Malcolm X that said the only thing he liked integrated was his coffee. Do I have somebody in here? When you rise to your belief, you don't have time for folk that will weigh you down in a bunch of mess. Let me put my foot right there for a minute. There are those Christians that are called, there are those church folk that are called anvil church folk. Do I have somebody in the house? The anvil is there to weigh you down. Do I have somebody in here? Some of y'all come with necklaces and things on that weigh you all the way down. Why? Because you got so much gold. They said you better stop wearing your gold because it's so high, folk trying to steal it. Hate to go to my hip if you're trying to get next to me. Do I have somebody in the house up in here? But what we must do is rise to the top. I don't want any anvil folk around me, because that means that you are not rising to believe. Honey, if you got the anvil spirit, I'm going to let you go off by yourself. And I'm going to get a good distance from you, and I'm just going to pray for you. Do I have anybody in the house today? Now you are faced with proclivities in your life. And the true testament, if you will rise to the top and allow God to bring you through. That's how you know that your battle is not your own. When you're able to say, you know what, I can't do it by myself. So I'm going to tell God to come on in here and fix this thing. Do I have somebody in here? You got a broken relationship? Stop blaming everybody and call on God. You got financial problems? Stop blaming the IRS. And look in the mirror and ask God to come in and call on the JSUS, call on the SONDAY to brighten your SUNDAY, so your MONDAY can be better than it was last week. I wish I had some Holy Ghost folk in here. I wish I had some non-stuck-up folk in here that would clap their hands for the third time. Second thing I want to tell you is about the fear factor. All right. How often have you had fears that have overtaken you because of your own ideologies.
Yes.
How often have you seen the show Fear Factor? And they put them in different situations. But the one thing they forgot is somebody is standing outside.
Yes.
Watching everything that goes on.
Yes.
Jesus is watching.
Oh, yes, he is.
Even when he was asleep. God sits high and he looks low. And he's watching everything that's going on in your life. He's just waiting to see if you'll stand on his promises. Or if you'll fall to humanly fears. All of us have something that we have been afraid of or are afraid of. Some of you are afraid of snakes. Some of you are afraid of mice, of spiders, whatever your fear is. But there should be no fear when you are saved. Your doubt. Whenever you go to the eye doctor, and in order for them to truly see your pupil, Yogi, they got to dilate your eyes. They put the drops in your eyes. And they tell you sometimes you got to have a driver. Other times you got to wait until it wears off. But after they dilate your eyes, you're looking and you really can't see. Everything is a blur. That's how the devil wants you to be. He wants you to have a blur in your life. Why? Because if you can see clearly, you'll be able to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Clap your hands and shout hallelujah. So now here we are. Your eyes are dilated and the doctor is looking into your pupil, trying to see if any imperfections are there. Ain't God all right? Ain't science all right? So now the doctor is looking in the eyes. He's looking through that machine. What do you think about this and what do you think about that? He's flipping everything through and he's looking to see if he can see anything. Sometimes the news is bad. They said, well, I'm looking and I see an imperfection. I stopped by to tell you God right now is dilating your spiritual eyes so that you can see things clearly through the eyes of the Lord. Maybe if that relationship ain't working out, let that no good Negro go. Let that no good woman go. And wait till God sends you somebody. Why? Because he's dilated your eyes so you can stop seeing him, so you can stop seeing her, and you can see God. Ain't God all right? Ain't God all right? But let me go up higher. So here we are. Now God is looking at us, and he said, now that I got you fixed up, don't go back to that same place that you are in. Go on and leave him, honey, and feel good about it. Why? Because God is on your side. Ain't God all right? God will keep you in that right early. Ain't God all right? So now he is looking at you. Then he put you on the x-ray machine to see the whole